They were really slow, so they sent me to the ER for a little bit. That was fun. It was gross though, but I feel like I handled the grossness of it. 5:45 a.m. You know what that means. It means we're going to clinicals again. My third of 5 big, long days here. And this weekend, I found out that I get to do Adult Health 2 here, which means that in June, I have, I think 67 or 68, I don't know, something hours here in June. Not at that house, at Pana ER, Pana Community Hospital, not the ER. Anyways, when I get home, I need to do the Adult Health 1 test. So, busy day today. It's nice and quiet. This place is a maze. It is a maze. I never know where I'm going. Well, I know how to get to clinicals, but like I don't know where the cafeteria is yet. It's small too. Small, but a maze. All right, 12:15, and well, something beeped in here. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, I think that's if the call button gets pushed. I'm not gonna push it. They were really slow, so they sent me to the ER for a little bit. That was fun to think about all the things I saw there and give you guys a summary later. Right now, I'm gonna take a quick lunch, so I'm gonna make phone calls and eat lunch. But yeah, it's a fun day. All right, so getting off at 6 p.m. turned into getting off at 1:30 p.m. because there's actually 2 patients on the floor right now, but one is just literally waiting for her ride to come, and that's the one I did my assessment on today, and really, she's doing good. She's getting ready to go to an independent living place. And like she didn't have any labs today. She didn't really have anything going on other than some pain meds. So she's who I did my report on, because when I got here, she was the only one really available. There were 2 people there, and one was getting ready to leave soon, and then she was gonna leave later in the day. So she's still there, but like leaving any minute now. And then they got another admit of a person, and I didn't see him. He was resting. He wasn't needing much care. They're like, it is just really slow here. You're not going to learn much. So they sent me down to the ER for a little bit, which I saw a lot at the ER. I mean, not a lot. I'm sure people see more, but it was way more stuff happening down there than what happens on the med surg floor. But then I think my preceptor was a little bit uncomfortable with that. She's like,
I want to make sure it's okay.
Like, they sent me down there. I didn't ask. They sent me down there. Then she's like,
ooh, wait, I want to make sure it's okay that you're down there when I'm up here.
So they're waiting to hear, like, what should I do when it's really slow there? But while I was in the ER, I saw him push in a hernia. And then that guy got a CT scan. And they're like, yeah, you're going to go to a bigger hospital to get surgery because you've got small valves. Something was going on with it. I didn't hear what they told him. I wasn't in the room at the time, but something with this small valve, what they saw in the CT scan, he needed to go get surgery. They had a couple frequent flyers down there that had some pretty general aches and pains, so they were doing labs and urine tests on them and getting them some meds. A finger laceration. It wasn't horrible, but I mean, I bet she gets some stitches. And it wasn't bleeding actively when she got there. It had happened about an hour ago, and the bleeding had stopped pretty well. It was gross, though, but I feel like I handled the grossness of it. It didn't make my skin, my insides crawl like they do when I see wounds usually. So I do think you get into a little bit of a different mindset, which is good because I don't need my skin to be crawling. I did, like, they asked her to bend it, and I did. Eesh, that made me flinch. I just felt bad for her. Ugh. But watched a lot of IVs get put in, fluids get hung. And then, yeah, I came back upstairs and they're like,
look, we don't really have anything. I don't mind you being down there at all. I just want to check that it's okay with the person at the top.
and she was in a meeting, so she couldn't check right then. But it is a good day to get off early because honestly, I was really cramming hours in, and I have a test to study for. Chris has no help at home. He had no help last night with Raylan. I think we are going to have help this afternoon, but like I said, I have to take a test. We just have a lot going on, so it's good. Got out early. It means I have to go do one more shift there, which means one more logbook assessment, which is more work. You know, the less shifts I do, the less work it is in the long run, because every shift I have one set of paperwork to fill out on one client. So an extra shift means an extra set of paperwork on an extra client. But that's good practice. And this was my third day. I'm so far away from getting down everything they do and know. But definitely every day I'm getting more comfortable with all the stuff they're doing. Still I'm a long ways away from being competent. But yeah, I mean, each shift I can see big improvements in my ability to follow what's going on, who's doing what I need to be watching for, what you're supposed to ask the patients when you go in the room, what supplies they need to get when they're doing things. So it's been fun. If I was gonna work at a local hospital, I mean, I think Pana is a good one. That's really not my ideal, I don't think. But I mean, they sent me home because they want me to see things for clinicals. But there are 2 RNs on that floor, and both of them will stay on that floor. The whole rest of that, as long as there's one patient on the floor, they will both be assigned to that floor. I like boring, guys. I'm okay with that. Now, if all the patients are discharged on the floor, which for a little bit today they thought that was going to happen, they actually send one nurse home, but one RN has to stay on the floor. I think partly it's to admit them, but they can't even go down to the ER. Like, they have to stay on that floor because the blood bank alarm is on that floor, and it alarms every once in a while, and like for the temperature. So someone has to be on that floor at all times to monitor the blood bank alarm. So if there was no patients, one RN would stay on that floor alone, all by themselves. Sign me up for that job. I like boring, guys. But the nurses I worked with today, my preceptor, who's I think she's been there 3 years. And then I worked with a PRN nurse, and she actually said she prefers Pana Hospital over her other position. She works long-term care. But she didn't want to try to get on full-time at Pana because you're not guaranteed hours, because it gets slow sometimes. But she picks up nights, it sounds like, over there. I feel like that might be an option, to pick up PRN nights at Pana when I get done with school. I would have to work full-time there for a few weeks, they said, because I asked him about that, and he's like,
well, probably you could come on PRN if you worked full-time for a few weeks to learn all the ropes to get comfortable with everything.
Which makes sense. Like, you want to know what you're doing and how to do everything before you're just coming in occasionally. But yeah, so that was today. My assessment was on they call it a swing bed, and that basically means they're like nursing home level care. If they're assigned swing bed, that's nursing home level care. So not very sick. And like I said, she was, I think it was her 12th day here. She was really just waiting for someone to pick her up to take her to independent living today. So how many hours did I work? 6 to 1:30, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 7.5 hours. Yeah, so I have 4.5 hours that I'll have to make up. Right now I have those on May 2nd. That's a Monday. I have them down to make up. And then if I have other shifts get shortened, hopefully I can just add one more shift. Hopefully I'm not adding 2 more shifts, because like I said, I like the idea of getting done in less shifts instead of more. And I don't mind being bored. I get why they wanted to send me home, and I have a lot to do today, so I think it was good that I am going home early. But I mean, honestly, I don't mind being bored. I really don't. So that's that. Driving home. Ooh, good thing about this hospital. Their food is like crazy cheap. So it might be partially employee discount, the PRN nurse said. But like she got hash browns and eggs and bacon and maybe toast. I don't remember for sure. $1.63. $1.63. Their food is cheap. They're like, oh yeah, their cafeteria's cheap. And some people say it depends on the day, but the food I've seen get brought up on trays, it looks pretty good, guys. Some of it looks really good. Some of it looks good. Nothing's looked bad. Nothing at all. Now I did hear it depends on what day, and they were short-staffed today. They had 3 people in the cafeteria call off. Small hospitals, you learn all kinds of things. But and their lunch was nachos. Honestly, it looked okay. But like I said, the trays I see people bringing up people to the room, they look pretty amazing. And if the prices really are there, that's a perk to work in there. That's definitely a perk. Yeah, small hospital. I don't know, you guys. I thought we loved their ER. That's part of why I wanted to do clinicals there, because I've really been impressed with Pena's ER. But I really thought, I wouldn't want to be inpatient at such a small hospital. I want to be where they got all the, latest tech and biggest stuff. Well, if you're really sick, if you're needing advanced levels of care, you don't want to be somewhere like Pena. But guess what? If you need advanced levels of care, they don't want you there either. They transfer you to a bigger hospital. But if you need, IV fluids for a few days because you got the flu and you're kind of frail, or you need a few days of IV antibiotics because you've got cellulitis but nothing too complicated, that is the place to be. You're going to get way more attention there than you would at a normal hospital with, nurses having 5, 6, 7 patients. You want a warm blanket? Boom, they're back in there with a warm blanket. I'm good at doing that. I know how to get everyone warm blankets. You need your pain med? There's no waiting 45 minutes for them to finally get it to you. And that does happen at Children's sometimes. Not often, but there's times where I'm like, Raylan needs her pain med, and you just, like, they're just so swamped, and that is not priority. That she doesn't get it as quick as she needs it. Not usually, but it happens. I can't picture that happening at this hospital. Yeah, it's changed my mind on how I see small hospitals. Like I said, if I needed advanced level of care, if I thought, my illness was complicated, that's not where I'd want to be. But if you just need something you can't get at home, and you need to be there for a few days, it is the place to be. It's good food, lots of nurse care. The nurses care. Another thing, small towns, man, everyone knows everyone somehow. If they don't know the person directly, they know the person's grandkid, or they know the person's uncle. I think that changes the level of care people give you. These nurses are caring for their family, they're caring for their friends, they're caring for their family and friends' friends, and they know it. And I think it probably has an effect on how well they really connect with their patients. It's not just some random person. It's someone's friend they know. I mean, in small towns, it's just that way. They're caring for someone's friend they know, or family, or someone in the hospital's relative. Like, we've had a volunteer at the hospital was there. We had the mother or grandmother of a pharmacy worker was there. We had, I think, a retired nurse's husband was there. So those are good things about a small hospital. I think you get more personalized care, and I think they maybe care a little more, but they don't have the level of equipment and technology that a big hospital has. They don't have access to specialists as quick as a big hospital does. If you go to the ER there, you're not going to see a neurologist. You're just going to see the main doctor. If I take Raylan to the ER at Children's, like a neurologist will come into the room if needed. An orthopedic surgeon will come into the room if needed. You're not going to see the specialists in the ER there. So you're not going to have a, you know, all those specialists even in the hospital at all times. So I'm not saying you always want to be at a small hospital, but sometimes it's probably the better place to be than the fancier big hospitals. That's it. I didn't tell Chris I was coming home early, so he will be surprised. Kids will be surprised. Let's do that. Let's go surprise them. We'll go around and surprise Emily first. I just saw her outside reading with the cats. Okay. Hi. They ran out of sick people, so they sent me home. That's a good problem to have, huh?
Yeah, that is.
Oh, what is it? You scared I'm going to operate on you, Smokey? Okay, we're going to go in and surprise Dad. He doesn't know.
Hey, sweetie.
Hey,
What are you doing home?
there's not enough sick people in pain.
They just sent you home today?
Yeah. They sent me to the ER first.
Oh, really?
And they would have let me go back down there, but my preceptor's like, I'm not real sure if... She's like, I'm not down there. She went to check with someone up higher to make sure that was okay before I just kept hanging out down there.
How do you think you did?
I answered all the questions in 22 minutes. I might have done better if I slowed down a little bit, but good.
Think you passed? Be your better?
B means balance. So, I'm happy.